Plaintiffs Heather Brown and her fiancé Joshua Barnett rented a townhome from the defendant and his wife. And Heather claims after they moved in, she discovered the defendant was chauvinistic. Heather says the defendant's friends were always looking in her windows, and they're suing for a security deposit. Defendants Michael McAdams and his wife Barbara say the plaintiff should have rented an apartment at a nudist colony because Heather was constantly walking around naked. They're countersuing for damages.
Start with you.
My fiance here, he works a full-time job, so I can stay at home and take care of our kids, and I watch your show regularly, so hopefully I learned enough to know what I'm doing.
Somebody got a pile of evidence there.
Yeah, I did my research.
Well, one of the things you needed to know, don't give me more than 10 pages worth of evidence.
Well, I wanted to make sure that it was crystal clear.
If you confuse me, you're definitely going to lose.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Now, when we met the McAdams, it was over their condo, townhome. I don't really know what it's labeled under. It was nice. We decided to go ahead and move forward and sign the lease. Now, I had no idea that he was going to be a chauvinistic man. He refused to really talk to me ever.
What do you think you all needed to discuss?
Anytime that there was a repair needed or anything, anytime I would call to inform him of a repair, he'd ask to speak with Josh. And if he called my phone looking for Josh and he wasn't available, he didn't care. And it really upset me and it annoyed me because anytime he called my phone, he'd ask for Josh. And I'd say, he's not here now, can I help you?
Might just be old-fashioned, not necessarily chauvinist. Could be just an old-fashioned type guy.
That's how I thought it was at first, and I was okay with it. And then, things started to progress forward. Any time I text him, never respond. If I say it was Josh, he responded to me then.
That doesn't make him a chauvinist, man.
No, well, the next thing was, his brother lives at the apartment, and he came out and he went off on him the day we moved out and said that he was I can't really.
He said I was a horrible person for.
All right, so his brother then
letting her talk to him.
Yeah, his brother said that Mike shouldn't have had to deal with me because I was a woman.
Well, I'm surprised they even came to us to rent the place because they should have went to a nudist colony or something.
Why is that, sir?
Well, I got many complaints from the other tenants, and the one I got the most was that they kept seeing her naked in the windows and stuff.
Standing in the window?
Standing in the window. I didn't think nothing of it. I thought, well, maybe somebody's kid said something. I know that them and one of the tenants didn't get along that well. But I was there one day, and it happened to me.
What'd you see, sir? What occurred?
I was standing on the concrete, right? I was standing on the concrete with my buddy, and their door was right there in front. Now I seen the baby in the doorway there, and then she came down the hall butt naked.
I'd like to make a correction there.
Not only that, she bent over in front of us. Now imagine what you see when a woman bends over.
I'd like to make a correction, Your Honor.
Judge,
yes, what's your correction?
I have toddlers. I don't walk around my house naked. Okay. I had a 7-year-old little neighbor girl my window butt naked.
Go ahead, sir. Okay, do you believe that she would come to the windows nude intentionally?
I don't believe. I know. I seen it, Judge.
But do you know whether it was intentional?
She made eye contact with me. She gave me that look. I don't want to do that. And then she sucked the baby up. I felt sorry for him, but at least he had more clothes than her.
Yeah, I'd like to make another correction here. First of all, we always had our blinds down because the fact that every time I opened my blinds, one of his members or that he worked with that worked on the house.
Right, what were you doing looking into the woman's house?
Windows.
What were you doing peep freaking in the house?
I wasn't peeping nowhere.
I
must have made a noise. I looked up. Trust me.
Peeping Tom.
I did not want
Go ahead, let's move on.
That.
You're peeping Tom and she's paranoid. Go ahead. Now what?
She more paranoid.
What else you want me to know? Tell me about the nature of the tenancy that they had.
They didn't get along with anybody. Yes, I mean, I didn't talk to her that much. Number one, she thinks she knows it all. I mean, she'd tell Gordon Ramsay how to cook. I'm surprised she ain't told you what to do yet.
She's getting there.
Anyhow, it was excessive. They were calling every day. Me and my wife were kind of like, well, you answer it. And I'm like, no, you answer it,
Defendants Michael McAdams and his wife Barbara rented a townhome to the plaintiff and her fiancé. And they claim the plaintiff was constantly walking around the home completely naked.
Tell me what you're suing for.
We're suing for our deposit. Our deposit was $650. We paid that in full. Now, we gave him his 30 days. By Ohio law, he has legally only 30 days to either get back to us and let us know what deductions he's taking out or give us back our deposit. And, you know, we constantly kept in contact with him trying to find out, you know, what's going on with the deposit. Never heard from him. So I sent him a letter and I told him, I was like, look, can you have the deposit by this date? Actually, I have it right here. By Tuesday, July 31st.
That's the letter?
Yeah. And it had our address again, which I told him prior 3 times in that 30 days what our address was. And he had our phone number.
Okay. All right, and that's $650. What's the other amounts for?
It's by Ohio law, if the landlord has not returned the deposit in 30 days, you're allowed to sue for wrongfully withheld and double the amount.
Let's see it. What's the definition there of wrongfully withheld?
Okay,
Do you know that? You have the actual law. It would have the definition of material words that apply to a law. Go ahead, sir. What do you want to tell me about the
well, first of
security deposit?
We kept it.
Why? Did you give him a list of repairs?
Yeah, I sent a list to the address that he gave me originally.
Did you receive this letter?
Another one.
Did you receive a letter on July 26th asking for the deposit?
Yes.
And did that letter have an address?
We had already.
I had already sent it out by then. I mean, I didn't think nothing of it.
When did you send it out?
June 10th is when we sent it out.
She does the administrative stuff.
You have anything?
I have. This is a copy of it.
Did you receive?
No, we never received. We checked the old apartment's mailbox, and we checked.
Okay, so when they sent the letter to you saying they haven't received it, why didn't you contact them and say, we sent it out in June?
Well, I believe I texted him, and he said he was suing, so I just, okay, we'll go to court, is what I was thinking then.
Okay, and you don't have any evidence of that? Because when a person tells you they're suing you and you've already complied with the demand which they're about to sue you for, usually to avoid going to court, you would call them and say, hey man, sent that to you in June. Did you get it? And then they say, no, I didn't get it. You say, okay, let me send you another letter. And then you discuss it. But instead, you say, you're just ready to come to court. So you say you're going to sue you. And what damages are you countersuing them for?
When they moved into the apartments, we had brand new, we had just redone everything. Brand new hickory cabinets, brand new refrigerator, stove, paint, carpet, tile, everything was brand new. Closet doors. She was not necessarily the best housekeeper.
What damages did they commit to your property?
There were dents in the front door. There are carpet stains that cannot come out. We've had them professionally cleaned and they will not come out. The closets were pulled off the door. The towel rack was removed. I don't even know where that is.
There was never a towel rack.
Do you have any evidence of any of that?
There was never a towel rack there.
We got pictures too. These are from the apartment on the date we moved out. I have witness statements and the date on, and they're timestamped on the back.
The house was filthy. We had to pay a maintenance man and 2 other people to clean the house. There was debris piled up, big piles of trash outside.
Defendants Michael McAdams and his wife Barbara rented a townhome to the plaintiff and her fiancé, and they claim the plaintiff was constantly walking around the home completely naked.
And the stains, you have something that says they won't come out. I see one that doesn't appear that it'll come out. All right, you have estimates?
One of the other things that bothered me about them was they had a guy living in the backyard in a shed for like a month. And then they moved in. I guess she didn't like him, so she put him out back. And we have these little sheds in the backyard about this tall. And I guess that's where that cat was living because there's little sacks of Fritos in there, everything else. I guess he had a sleeping bag in there. Yeah. I guess when he moved out, who else did you move in? I don't know. A brother or a family or something?
We didn't move any family.
Ma'am, have you found that part of the law that describes what wrongfully withheld means? Because wrongfully, most lawyers and judges would interpret as willful. Wrongfully means you intentionally did not do it, not negligently. There's 2 different things. There's wrongful and there's negligent.
In this case, it would have been negligent.
Pardon me?
In this case,
it would have been
negligent.
And that's not what the law addresses. It doesn't address negligence. It addresses wrongfulness.
Well,
so you don't get double. We're going to give the $650 deposit back, the damages I've observed, and that would be $200 to replace the door, $100 for the carpet cleaning, $150 for the blinds, and $45 for the back door stripping. Judgment for the plaintiff and the defendant.
I don't really appreciate Heather saying that my husband's male chauvinistic. She's not on the lease. She is Josh's baby mama. We don't have to talk to her.
She is my fiance.
I'm his fiance 5 years.
And the city is paying. The city is paying your rent.
And occupancy is
on the lease.
The city's paying their rent.
Don't go there.